Hello, Scott here, and welcome to yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. And here we have another big brown box. Today's little entry into the silly videos that I do is something that I picked up at Exalted Funeral. The items here in question were things that I believe originally were kickstarted. I did not back them at the time for, I don't know, a variety of reasons. There's several different reasons why people don't do Kickstarters, even if they want to. And, mine is no different than anyone else's. But I was able to obtain these through Exalted Funeral, which tends to be a wonderful way, knowing that if you're not in the position or you're not too sure about something, a lot of these things tend to end up on sites like Kickstarter, and then there you can decide with a little bit more detail, after they've been fulfilled, if these are the things for you. So this should be a quick one today. So might as well get started. Trusty Coleman Camping Steak Knife here. We are halfway through February 2022. No incidents as of yet, thankfully. And let's go ahead and cut this bad boy open and get the box out of the way. Oh God, this thing's getting dull, but it will persist. Alrighty. Give it another slice here. There we are. Go ahead and take these out and move this chunky box out of the way. All right. And, oh, hey, there we go. Personal information inside of there. We'll throw that on the floor. There we go. All right. Don't need to worry about blurring crap out. And what do we have here? We'll flip this over. So what we have is Wyrd Science. And yes, I did get a monitor finally for up front, but I don't have the appropriate cable to reach my computer where it's located, so I'm awaiting another adapter. So what do we have here? We have Wyrd Science, Session 0, and then the follow-up book behind it. So we are almost... Jesus, wow. Okay. That's some hardy tape there. Bada bing, bada boom. Get those things out. So, there we are. Opposite ends. And nice and centered for the time being, so I can look at it clearly, and there we go. So, Wyrd Science, Session 0, and Wyrd Science number 2, The Expert Rules. Fanzine, if I'm not mistaken. I know several people who have copies of these, comes highly recommended, and I've been wanting to check it out myself for some time. So, let's take a quick page through and see what you get if you pick up Wyrd Science Session 0. Okay, and there we go. So, table of contents. What do we got? Common items and regular treasures. Page 3, unboxing. Speak, friend, and enter. Okay, well, that's coincidental. Manga's musings. Page 5, alone in the dark. Page 6. Am I reading the pages correctly? Yes. Publish and be damned. Page 10, cast pod. Page 12, roll deep. Page 15, time slip. Page 88, crooked tales. Rare items to be found in this issue only. Page 16, 2020 vision. Page 28, the man with the 20-sided brain. Page 40, adventure time. Page 46, phantoms of oppression. Page 50, the apocalypse meant something. Page 56, home on the strange. Page 62, if you go down to the woods today. Page 68, the dark is rising. Page 74, mazes and monsters. And page 78, fiction, the river's brink. And then we have a nice portrait here of Kieran Gillen, socially distanced portrait by Tom Medwell. You can look up Tom Medwell's work on www.tommedwell.com. Fantastic. So a fanzine, with contributors, as we look on the second page here. The contributors to this are Matt Pringle, William Foxon Todd, Sarah Elsom, Will Salmon, Matt Thrower, Walton Wood, Samantha Nelson, and Rob Weiland. Hopefully that ding didn't come through, but if it did, oh well. We are completely professional here. So we kind of give a page through. There's a quick start, a welcoming to our brand new magazine, and what, in effect, to hopefully annoy future generations of librarians, we are calling our Session 0. A chance to see if this strange idea that's been rattling around in my head for the past few years makes any sense once freed to its flesh prison. You don't need me to tell you that it's been a weird year, and not in a good way. Certainly between the pandemic, lockdowns, the U.S. elections, and their bizarrely, at time of print, still ongoing aftermath, Brexit, and to top it all off, a late developing wisdom tooth, sadly without any apparent WIS bonus. There's probably been better times to launch a new print magazine. Yes, I would agree, but, I would also say there's no time like the present. So, as we go here, looks like we have some more meanderings and musings from other people as they kind of go through here. So these look like articles by, contributing journalists and other authors as we go through it. We have a focus here on Games Omnivorous. Let's see here. So this looks like it's an interview from Andre regarding Games Omnivorous, a very, at this point in time, is a wildly popular, creator, publisher. It's kind of hard to say, but a little bit of everything is what you can get through them right now. But primarily focusing on, at least their original intent was focusing on minimalist style games and being very successful with it. Let's see here. We've got other pictures of Death Robot Jungle, a hex crawl that's had I believe, an associated soundtrack to it on LP. I could be wrong. We have the wildly anticipated and popular Mouse Rider box set. That was a complete, arm and a leg to get over here to the States, but some didn't have a problem getting it. Others decided to wait, and now we're awaiting the Kickstarter. Oh, a light just went off. Jesus. Excuse me a moment. Let's see what happened here. Yeah, there we are. Apologies. As clearly stated by, the title of this video, completely professional or unprofessional, whichever. And then we have a focus on the Grognard files. I think it goes without saying, those who know me, obviously a gigantic fan of the Grognard Files podcast and everything that Dirk has done over the course of the lockdown, the pandemic, and everything, running the wildly and wonderfully successful Grog Meet Online. Have contributed so many times to that. A wonderful group of people, and a lot of them that I speak with weekly in an online pub, and where I've kind of met many international friends over the past couple of years. So it's good to see that there's a contribution or an interview with him in this book. Excuse me. So it seems to go on with, other questions and interviews with a variety of people. And those things, some people may not enjoy that. Some people like in their fanzines to be, minimal kind of stuff based like that. They want to see, game contributions, ideas for whatever it is that they're running their games in, monsters, characters, NPCs, whatever the case may be. Things that focuses primarily on what can you give me to my game, but not necessarily focusing, on the outside aspects. Me, I am entirely, interested on all aspects, whether it be the people involved, the historical, legacies of most games. I am a collector. I do collect a lot of, games, both old and new, and entirely enamored with the history of all things. A little bit congested today. So, continuing on, looks like we have a contribution with Gaz and Baz from the Smart Party. So a lot of familiar names in here so far. This, I believe, is going to be an enjoyable read for me. Miniature Renaissance with Chris McDowell. And let's see. Beyond Violence, Jay Dragon on the queer future of tabletop RPG design. An interesting article. Sisters of Battle, Danny Ware on the changing face of fantasy. Wonder what that would be. Let's see. Making Waves, Pamela Punzalan on the rise of RPGC. I do not know what that is, but I'm sure I will find out soon. Continuing on, more focusing on models. The man with the 20-sided brain. Ugh, I guess I need a brain too. Karen Gillan, and on dice, power fists, and pretty much everything. So I would. This sounds like this might be another in-depth interview. So yeah, so I think this primarily focuses on, well, I mean, kind of inside baseball when it comes to the tabletop RPG industry. The creatives involved in there, the games being made and whatnot, and not necessarily focusing on, actual utilization of, games like other zines might be. And Jesus, what's going on with this light? Is there a timer on it? I will figure it out later. So I'll deal with it. There we are. Okay. So continuing onward. So this is kind of stuff that may not interest a lot of people. But if you're interested in it seems like if you're interested in the everything outside of gaming and what's involved with gaming, and seems like the current people, whether they are cycling the orbit of it, influencing it, critiquing it, on the verge of being new creators within it, and whatnot. This seems like this would be an excellent magazine to pick up. Okay, and we have, this looks like a information. Oops, I see some Chris Spivey stuff here. Root. No comment there. Continuing on. So yeah. So this looks like, at least for me, some wonderful insight into the people who participate in all aspects of our hobby. Wyrd Science 2. Is it the same? We'll find out. And continuing on, we have the quick start, which seems to be the introduction to the magazine, if they continue on with it. Contributors to this particular version, or this edition. Sorry, it's been a long day. We've got Ellen Knight, we've got Amy Hart, we got Diogo Nogueira. I think he's a fan favorite for certain people. He's a very wonderful gentleman. Love his games. Luke Frostick, Carly A.F., Dungeon Baker, Alex Damasceno, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and Lukas Kowalczyk. And I apologize if I don't pronounce that correctly either. So continuing on, Volume 1, Issue 2, Summer 2021, we have the quick start here. And looks, there's another familiar photograph as we continue on with the Smart Party, as seems to be focusing on the podcast this time. And an interview with, let's see here, the creators of Coyote and Crow, an up-and-coming RPG, dealing with I'm not too familiar with Coyote and Crow. I think it's dealing with the Native American experience if certain things didn't occur as they did with the United States, and it's a sci-fi setting or an apocalyptic sci-fi setting. I'm not 100% sure. It's one of those that I didn't back just because it kind of came in the middle of a lot of other things that were already backed, and therefore just the funds weren't there. But look forward to it coming out, and of course, looking forward to its success. So we have an interview with John Peterson from The Elusive Shift, or author, I should say, of The Elusive Shift. Fantastic book. Actually, everything John Peterson writes is fantastic, but the one of the more recent items that's been introduced is The Elusive Shift. Evocative read. I read the entire book from almost cover to cover in a few hours when my wife is getting some minor surgery done. Nothing to be concerned with. There's that light again. I'll need to figure this out before the next video. There we are. This should be fun for everybody involved. So going through, as I was saying, nothing serious in regards to my wife. It was just, some minor surgery that needed to be done. Nothing screams read me from cover to cover than having to wait in a waiting room of a hospital. So as we continue to flip through this, Dungeon Life beginning at 40, focus on BX, the very popular and still wonderful old school Dungeons and Dragons system. Oh God, look at that artwork. I mean, this is me waxing eloquent and pining for better days, but there's just something special about these Arrow Otis pieces. Continuing on, we've got a piece on Fritz Leiber or Lieber in regards to Fafhrd and Grey Mouser. Look for the DCC box set of Lankmar if you can get your hands on it. It is superb. Even if you're not a DCC fan, I suggest getting it just because of the tremendous amount of information in that box set. Dealing with BX in the future, focusing on books that may be BX adjacent, it looks like. Old School Essentials, yep. Knock, Mork Borg, Mothership, Troika, Violence is Easy, Romance is Hard. This is a focus on Thirsty Sword Lesbians. This is a relatively, not new entry. It's been out for a few months, but tons of fun. I had a wonderful time playing in a session being run by a Lloyd, God, I may mispronounce his name, Lloyd Gahan. We had an absolute blast with him running this game. Highly recommend it. And I believe there's either a companion piece coming out or a campaign setting or something, but there's a second book to support Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Definitely grab it. It is a fun game. Let's see here. And then we have another piece on, God, jeez. Just bear with us. We're almost done. Another piece, this is on focusing on Age of Sigmar, it looks like, from the artwork. And Wanderhome. This is one of the ones in here that I really don't know anything about. I know it was popular. I know it kind of like touched down and there was a lot of focus on it for a short period of time, and then I haven't seen much of it since, but that doesn't mean that it's not a good game or that it's still popular. It just means it's not in my immediate focus of where I am looking. This is a South of the Borderlands. Is this an interview with, or an article written by Diogo? I think. What was written must be destroyed, focusing on Warplanned. Let's open up this pit. And looks like a lot of Mork Borg, things regarding more miniatures. An escape to New York. This is a few RPG debuts have caught our attention in recent times, like Alt New York City 88. Oh, wow. You learned something new. Now it's caught my attention. I'll have to look into that. More focused articles on miniatures and Craftwork focusing on the Black Library. And then concluding with a few more articles, minor articles focusing on games themselves. And that's my daughter in the background. My wife just got home, so this is actually kind of works out well as we conclude Wyrd Science, Volume 1, Number 2. So that's a quick run through as the light kind of collapses on itself again. I think these lights are lights that I purchased. You plug them in. The timer may have been set on these things. It's hard to say because they're kind of somewhat programmable. But anyways, apologies for that. But in conclusion, that's Wyrd Science. Two look like wonderfully informative magazines to kind of give you an inside baseball look at the people that, focus on several aspects of our hobby. Pick it up. It looks like it's wonderfully evocative and interesting, and comes to you from a lot of different perspectives, young, old, and all over the place in what they're providing to you. It's essentially focused on a singular aspect of the hobby, which I think is wonderful. Diversity, perfect. Wyrd Science, pick it up. I'm Scott. This has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing Thank you so much for your time in this video and dealing with the professional technical issues. You can find me at OrcusDorkus on Twitter. Be sure and check out my podcast I do with Keith from rollingboxcars.com. Check out his site. Definitely. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. And it would help if I give you the name. Titterpigs, the tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us on all podcasting sites. And I think I'll wrap this up real quick before my wife comes up here and interrupts it. Have a wonderful day. Take care.